that has been seized. The United States seized 1.9 million barrels of oil on December 10th.
We're going to keep it. We're keeping.
Where's it? Are we going to sell it or put it in the strategic?
Maybe we'll sell it. Maybe we'll keep it. Maybe we'll use it in the strategic reserves. We're keeping it. We're keeping the ships also. Yep.
About Venezuela, sir, have you spoken to American oil companies that have had their assets seized about what a post-Maduro Venezuela would mean for them, of what coming back and restarting operations?
All the big ones, yeah. I have. Yeah, please.
A 200-year-old friendship is on the ropes. For decades, the United States and Colombia were seen as inseparable partners, the cornerstone of American policy in South America. But that alliance is now facing its most difficult chapter in recent memory. After a series of escalating threats and actions from the Trump administration, the relationship is at a breaking point. This isn't just a diplomatic spat. This is a crisis fueled by sanctions, military posturing, and a clash of political wills that could create a dangerous power vacuum in America's own backyard. This is the story of how a once unbreakable alliance began to fracture and why the fallout could reshape the political map of an entire continent. Here's what's really happening, and why you need to pay attention. Section 1. The threat. A relationship failing demonstrably. The confrontation has been building for months, but it reached a fever pitch with a series of direct threats from President Donald Trump. Speaking from his Mar-a-Lago residence in December 2025, Trump issued a sharp warning to his Colombian counterpart, Gustavo Petro. He's no friend to the United States, Trump began, accusing Petro's government of running drug factories. He then delivered a chilling ultimatum: we know where they are. He better close them up fast. The comments called Petro a troublemaker and marked a dramatic escalation in a feud that has seen Trump label the Colombian president an illegal drug leader. The rhetoric has been backed by action. In September 2025, the Trump administration officially decertified Colombia as a partner in the fight against drugs for the first time in nearly 3 decades. The White House memorandum stated that Colombia was failing demonstrably to meet its obligations, placing the blame squarely on Petro's leadership. Just a month later, in October, the U.S. took the unprecedented step of imposing personal sanctions on President Petro, his wife, his son, and his interior minister, freezing their U.S. assets. The U.S. Treasury accused Petro of allowing drug cartels to flourish. This was followed by the revocation of Petro's U.S. visa after he gave a pro-Palestinian speech in New York and called on U.S. soldiers to obey the orders of humanity instead of President Trump. For the first time, a sitting U.S. president had personally and directly targeted the leader of a major, historic ally, and the diplomatic fallout was instantaneous. Section 2. Petro's defiance. President Petro's response has been just as fierce. In response to the sanctions, he posted on X, formerly Twitter, that fighting drug trafficking for decades had brought him this measure from a society the U.S. helped. He called the situation a complete paradox, but declared he would take not one step back and never on our knees. After Trump's drug factories threat, Petro shot back, stating on X that Colombia destroys a drug production laboratory every 40 minutes without missiles and dared Trump to visit. He warned, "Do not threaten our sovereignty, because you will awaken the jaguar. Attacking our sovereignty is declaring war." This jaguar metaphor, invoking a powerful symbol of indigenous strength, framed the showdown as a defense of national dignity. Earlier in the year, a spat over the treatment of deported Colombian migrants led to Trump threatening crippling tariffs of up to 50%. Petro fiercely responded with counter-tariffs and a letter accusing Trump of viewing Colombians as an inferior race, writing, "I survived torture, and I will resist you." But this explosive back and forth wasn't a sudden storm. It was the culmination of a partnership that has been steadily eroding for years. To understand how we got here, we need to look back at how this alliance was built and how it started to crumble. Section 3. How we got here. A history of a fractured alliance for over 2 decades, the US-Colombia relationship was defined by one thing: the war on drugs. Through Plan Colombia, Washington poured billions into making the country its most reliable military and political partner in a region often skeptical of U.S. influence. In return, Colombia became a linchpin of American strategy. The election of Gustavo Petro in 2022, the country's first leftist president, signaled a dramatic change. Petro campaigned on moving away from the U.S.-backed militarized drug war and seeking total peace with armed groups through negotiation and social investment. Tensions flared almost immediately. Petro criticized the traditional anti-drug strategy as a failure, while Washington grew frustrated with his new policies, such as halting the forced eradication of coca crops. This fundamental disagreement set the stage for the breakdown. The Trump administration decried the record-high levels of coca cultivation under Petro's watch. Petro, meanwhile, argued his government was achieving record cocaine seizures and that the old strategy only harmed poor farmers. Each action and reaction, from the diplomatic standoff over deportation flights in January 2025 to the decertification in September and the personal sanctions in October, eroded what was left of the trust between the two nations. The old alliance was dead, and a new era of open hostility had begun. Section 4, the escalation, sanctions, pressure, and proxies. Following the threats and sanctions, the situation has moved beyond just words. The tools of American power are now being aimed at Colombia in a multi-front pressure campaign. The first front is economic. The decertification and sanctions have cast a dark cloud over the Colombian economy. The U.S. is Colombia's largest trading partner, and while broad tariffs haven't been applied yet, the personal sanctions against the president send a chilling message to international investors. The moves risk triggering an economic crisis and are designed to squeeze the Petro government, making it harder for him to govern. The second front is military. While a direct invasion is highly unlikely, the U.S. is applying significant military pressure in the region. A massive naval buildup in the Caribbean, officially a counter-narcotics operation aimed at Venezuela, now serves a dual purpose as a show of force toward Bogotá. These operations have turned deadly. Since September 2025, U.S. forces have conducted lethal strikes on over 20 small vessels in the Caribbean and Pacific, resulting in more than 80 deaths. While the U.S. claims they were drug boats, Petro has condemned the strikes, in which at least 2 Colombian citizens were killed, as extrajudicial killings. Finally, there's the geopolitical front. In a strategically timed move, Washington designated Colombia's largest cartel, the Gulf Clan, as a foreign terrorist organization in December 2025. While the group is a major criminal enterprise, the designation directly complicates President Petro's total peace plan, which involves negotiating with such groups. Many in Bogotá see this as an attempt to undermine Petro's signature policy and destabilize the country from within. Section 5, the implications, a continent on edge. The breakdown of the U.S.-Colombia relationship is sending shockwaves across South America, threatening a new chapter of regional instability. For Colombia, the stakes are immense. The country is still navigating a fragile peace process after a 50-year internal conflict. U.S. pressure could polarize Colombian politics and embolden armed groups who see the government as weakened and isolated. Even the 7 U.S. military bases on Colombian soil, once a symbol of close partnership, could become flashpoints. For the region, it's a geopolitical earthquake. With the U.S. now treating 2 major South American nations, Venezuela and Colombia, as hostile states, the political map is being redrawn. This creates a power vacuum that other global players, like China, are keen to fill, potentially altering the balance of power in a hemisphere long dominated by the United States. The U.S. military buildup also carries the constant risk of spillover, especially concerning Venezuela, which could send millions of refugees into a destabilized Colombia. The entire Andean region is holding its breath as a critical alliance dissolves into a dangerous geopolitical showdown. Conclusion. With both leaders digging in, the U.S.-Colombia relationship is facing its greatest test in modern history. A war of words has escalated into a campaign of sanctions and military posturing, pushing a key South American ally to the brink. This is no longer just a diplomatic dispute. It's a geopolitical storm threatening to upend decades of stability. What happens next could reshape the political landscape of the Americas. Can diplomacy pull the two nations back from the edge? Or is this the start of a new, confrontational era in the Western Hemisphere, with consequences that will be felt far beyond Washington and Bogotá? The jaguar has been awakened, but the eagle is circling, and the world is watching to see who blinks first. We'll be following every development of this story. To stay updated, make sure you subscribe to our channel. What do you think is next for this fractured alliance? Is this a necessary pressure campaign or a reckless gamble? Let us know in the comments below.